Canelo Alvarez says he wants $150 million to $200 million to fight David Benavidez. What you think you got? Chelsea Clinton? Kelsey Carter? Kelsey Grammer? $150 million to fight David Benavidez? Hey, yo, man, hold up.
What the fuck? God damn it. Canelo demands an offer of $150 to $200 million to fight David Benavidez. Canelo says Benavidez brings nothing to the table except 25 extra pounds. Come on, son. Is Canelo really going to downplay David like that? Let's dive in.
Come on, son. Canelo Alvarez, you making it very hard, my guy, to defend this behavior. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. You guys see the name, Boxing Ego, subscribe. Canelo Alvarez at his press conference for the Jaime Munguia fight. Very calm, tranquil press conference. So much so, I am not doing a reaction to that because there's not much for me to react to. So there is some content that I thought would be of interest to you on the channel. Namely, when Canelo Alvarez talked about a potential fight with David Benavidez, he basically says, and stay tuned to this end of the video, I will let you listen so you can hear with your own ears in case you don't believe me, right? Canelo is basically saying that Benavidez brings nothing to the table except for extra weight, 25 pounds. Now, Canelo doesn't understand this because he said it. He just told on himself. Oh yeah, he just told on himself. Why do I say that? He just told on himself because that was out of left field. I got him out of position like Sheffield in left field. What song is that from? If anyone guess, if you can guess that song, then you really know your hip hop. I got him, and don't Google it either. I got him out of position like Sheffield in left field. That was out of left field. So why did Canelo Alvarez even say that? Unless you have considered this guy is a good fighter and he's bigger than me and he weighs more than me, or he brings extra weight. So that means that's a concern that's been on your brain. Use your brain. That's been on your mind for the fact that you just said that and you had that in the can like that, right? Why did you randomly say? Because David Benavidez, so far so good. He's been making his weight since Canelo and Benavidez has really been buzzing, where people really felt Benavidez was worthy of that fight. Since he's been the mandatory, things of this sort, he's been controlling his weight. He's only going to 175 to fight Alexander Vostok, your stablemate, because he couldn't get you. You said you didn't want to fight Mexican fighters. Now you're fighting a purebred Mexican fighter from Mexico in Jaime Munguia. But then you have David Benavidez, who's of mixed race, like he's Ecuadorian and Mexican, so he brings both that to the table. And for a person who made that statement, I do not want to fight a Mexican fighter, which I could show you. As you guys will see on the screen, Canelo Alvarez says he won't fight with Mexicans out of respect for his country. Canelo had previously stated he does not want to fight someone who comes from the same soil as him and bears the same flag. Well, you're fighting Munguia. And at the press conference, he tried to explain. He's like, Munguia is a nice guy, and you know, he was respectful and he's working hard, so I gave him the choice. So nonetheless, Canelo man fans, the Cinnabons, you're already down bad because Canelo's made you contradict yourself. Because just a few years ago when he said that statement initially, I made a video about it, and per usual, the Canelo man fans, the Cinnabons, they agreed with it. They're like, oh yeah, he has the right to choose and who cares, and it's unheard of. You never heard Oscar De La Hoya say he wouldn't fight Julio Cesar Chavez. Never heard Eric Morales say he's not going to fight against Juan Manuel Marquez or Marco Antonio Barrera. You never heard these things. You have never heard a black fighter say, imagine if Errol Spence said he don't want to fight Terrence Crawford. If Errol Spence says he don't want to fight Sean Porter because they black and they American. That just sounds stupid. Boxing is not. And then the same people who a lot of the Canelo fans that are racist, they'll say, oh, why you always make it about race, huh, ego? And then they'll defend him saying that and say, oh, it has nothing, like when I make a video, they'll say it's not about race. But how is it not about race when Canelo says that a person who bears the same flag, the same national pride and ethnicity as me, I refuse to fight? And then he rescinds it. And then you say it's not about race. I mean, it just sounds stupid. So now we get to the heart of this video, which is what Canelo said about David Benavidez. So he's already made his fans look crazy by contradicting himself, as I've already illustrated. Said you wouldn't fight a Mexican, and instead of fighting the guy who's half Mexican in David Benavidez, you choose to fight the guy that's full-blooded Mexican, and the people defended you when you made their statements. Canelo can choose what he wants, and it's just unheard of behavior. So this, what I like about boxing, is the truth always comes out. The most dangerous thing is the camera and the microphone. So I let people incriminate themselves, and over time it'll be shown. So this is what Canelo said at the Munguia press conference regarding David Benavidez. Roll the clip.
Maybe, who knows? But you know, he brings nothing to the table for me.
What?
He brings just 25 pounds more in the night, the fight on the night. That's it. But if some promoter, not him, because he's nothing to offer me anything.
Canelo, ¿cómo te sientes?
He's nothing to offer me.
So Canelo's saying, David Benavidez, I never received an offer, but he ain't nobody to me. I'm the A side. He can't offer me ish. So, I mean, these are already confusing statements by Canelo. Baby. First of all, he says he didn't receive an offer, but then he's also taking shots at Benavidez and his pops, who said that they try to corral Canelo, get the fight by sending him an offer. He said he didn't get an offer, but then he's also saying that you can't offer me anything. So it's like, which one is it? You know, how could you get an offer if you're saying that nobody's on your level to send you anything?
Promoter, not him, because he's nothing to offer me anything.
Canelo, ¿cómo te sientes?
He's nothing to offer me money, you know. I'm the one. So, but if one promoter who I work to, they come and say, I offer to you 150 to 200 million, I fight tomorrow. That's the only.
He said if a promoter that I'm working with were to offer me $150 million to $200 million, then he would take the fight tomorrow. Bro, he's looking to cash out. What else is that? Why would they have to offer you like that? First of all, in the history of boxing, who got $150 to $200 million? And then if you were to find the fighter, it'll probably be like Floyd Mayweather and Pacquiao. I mean, come on, bro. Mayweather and Pacquiao. I believe Mayweather was doing $1 million plus by himself with Shane Mosley's and De La Hoya's and $2 million with Canelo's and stuff. So he was a certified bona fide star. Same thing with Pacquiao. Pacquiao had he was doing good numbers with Ricky Hatton and different people and De La Hoya, whatever. So Pacquiao was that dude, Mayweather's a dude, two anomalies. When you put that together, you make, and it was like 5 years of a build because the fight fell apart over the needles and things like that. Completely different trajectory. This is a very good fight, and I think even the biggest fight, but you have to deal with piracy, people illegally streaming your fights, just a different time. So why is Canelo demanding so much money and almost even publicly putting your number out there? So I wouldn't be surprised this fight never, ever, ever, ever happened.
But if one promoter who I work to, they come and say, I offer to you 150 to 200 million, I fight tomorrow.
Canelo,
They come and say, I offer to you 150 to 200 million, I fight tomorrow.
Canelo,
that's the only reason I fight with him, because the only thing he brings to the table is 25 more pounds.
Wow.
Is there any pressure to make the fight? We're speaking about Benavidez because you got people like
pressure.
Mike Tyson and
No
even
pressure.
Ryan Garcia. They said Ryan Garcia said if he was you, he would already fight Benavidez. Mike Tyson said you need to fight him. Is there any pressure?
I don't
in
need
terms
to
of
fight
people?
anybody. I don't need to prove anybody anything, because I remember when this happened with Golovkin, and then it happened with this. So I don't need to prove anything with anybody. So this fight with Jaime Munguia, you need to respectful, because this fight is more important than other fights.
Oh, wow. Hey, yo, Canelo, he's on his own with that. He said he don't have to prove nothing to Mike Tyson. He don't have to prove nothing to Ryan Garcia. He said, I do what I want. You know, the Munguia fight is more important. Respect that. Wow. I mean, it is what it is. Canelo, I told you this about Canelo. I'm just a genius. The prodigal son has returned, a prophet of boxing. And this is nothing surprising about this. He's completely discounting Benavidez. He's saying to get it done, it would take $150 million to $200 million. That's a lot of money. Like, we're talking like Mayweather Pacquiao territory. Who's going to put up them guarantees? And, you know, no shade to Benavidez, but again, it's not like a Mayweather Pacquiao scenario where both were million-plus draws for sure every time out on pay-per-view. And again, we're talking about different time pieces where piracy runs rampant and getting people to actually commit and buy instead of like illegally streaming. You're just plagued with different types of problems. I would not be, the way Canelo is talking and you guys are hearing it, I would not be surprised if this fight never happens. Like, listen to what he's saying. He's saying he need $200 million to fight Benavidez, and he ain't nobody. And it's a bad look, the stuff that Canelo is saying, because he's basically telling you, I'm Canelo, and he's saying these snarky remarks, but I do what I want. We'll see how long that lasts. We'll see, you know, how long the people approve of it. And I was actually a bit surprised at the press conference. At least I know it probably wasn't open to the public, but it seemed like more cheers were for Munguia. And I think because Munguia is the guy, he ain't done nothing wrong. Fighter out of Mexico, don't act like a diva. He's down to test himself, obviously, by fighting the likes of Canelo. Had some tough fights with Deryevchenko and stuff like that. So, I don't know. People are going to be rooting for Munguia because he seems more like the throwback fighter. Canelo has reached a level of success that it's almost like he's spoiled. He's reached this level of success where he feels, I don't have nothing to prove. And for me, that's dangerous territory. And I'm going to explain why. The reason why I feel it's dangerous territory is because if you have nothing to prove, then get to stepping. You're holding the belts hostage in your division, the super middleweight category. You're fighting someone who's kind of relatively new to the super middleweight category, hasn't really fought a big name, hasn't done more than David Benavidez, never been a champion in this division, almost got stopped, it looked like, by Deryevchenko, a guy who Jamal Charlo beat easy, right? And that's no shade to Munguia. These are the facts. And you're holding the belts hostage and then saying, I don't need to do anything. I mean, the WBC, I told you, it stands for We Back Canelo. The fact that Canelo feels this empowered to talk this like gangster about what he won't do is definitely a problem in the sport of boxing, because Benavidez is supposed to be the mandatory for Canelo Alvarez. And you hear he's nonchalant. He's like, I don't need to prove anything. I don't care what Mike Tyson talking about. I don't care. I'm just paraphrasing. I don't care what Ryan Garcia talking about. I don't need to prove nothing. He can't offer me nothing. So on one hand, as I said earlier, you're saying Benavidez never offered you anything in his cap, but then you're saying he couldn't offer you anything. He couldn't offer you anything. And there's another portion of this media scrum where Canelo, payday, you want payday? I know that. He also said, and I didn't let you guys listen to this part of the media scrum, he also said that he made it sound like $50 million, the said offer that he said he didn't receive, which has been confirmed by so many people, but whatever. He said, like, basically, like, that was chump change. I can make 50 mil fighting anybody. That's basically what he said. So I really blame DAZN. I'm not even joking with you. Listen, subscribe to my channel. I give it to you real. Do I not give it to you real? Pause. Uncut, raw, unfiltered, and I give you the boxing knowledge. Subscribe. The best in the business, and it's not even close. The reason I blame DAZN is because they effed up the marketplace. They done gave Canelo so much money when they had the $1 billion war chest to the point where he's spoiled. It's like spoiling a kid. You allowed Canelo to earn 30 to 45 million, $50 million on fights like Rocky Fielding, and he did it again and again and again. His initial deal, I know he got out the Golden Boy, but that's a whole separate subject matter. His initial deal was like 11 fights for 365 million, but he was choosy in those fights, and he was fighting like Callum Smith, fights where you know they lost money on, right? Especially like the worst ones, like Avni Yildirim, Eardrum, Pilgrim, and fights like Rocky Fielding. You know those fights didn't provide. I mean, Eddie Hearn even said that. He said we've lost money on some Canelo fights. They had Canelo's career. PBC only recently started working with him again for the Caleb Plant fight, and then Jermell Charlo, and then now again for Munguia. But it was the behavior of DAZN that I believe spoiled him. Now you hear him talking like, man, I don't, because you just stack that money up. You know what I'm saying? You're fighting multiple times, and then you've amassed this type of wealth. So now you're like in a position where you're like, that ain't no money to me. I'll make that versus anybody. And then now Canelo's playing this game where he knows that he has popularity, and he knows he's one of the faces of boxing. So he can keep pitting the promoters against each other, where if PBC doesn't give him exactly what he wants, let him fight who he wants for the number he wants, then he'll just make the move and bust a move and go down the alley and go to DAZN. And then if DAZN is not giving into, bending at the knee and giving everything, then he's like, you know what, I'll go back to Al Heyman and them. So now, and it's a fair play to him. That's a smart play. He's negotiating his butt off. So he's avoiding the fight like a David Benavidez fight, but doing this ping pong, he's able to go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth from this promoter to this promoter, and then take what this promoter said and their offer. And if he doesn't fully like it or thinks he can do better, then he'll go holler at this promoter, and then kind of pick between the two. And now you got this Canelo who's talking kind of crazy. Like, this is not even what boxing should be about. And I'm not anti the fighter getting their money. Get your bread, you're risking your life. I understand the money part. But we know you will make a lot of money fighting Benavidez. We know that. And Canelo, it's so many things wrong. He's saying like, oh, Benavidez can't offer me nothing. Okay, you offer Benavidez a realistic purse and then make the fight happen. You don't want to fight this man. Benavidez said his team reached out and it was like a 92-8 split where Benavidez would have got no pay-per-view proceeds, no back-end money, and he would have been getting $5 million flat fee, which is his minimum. And then Canelo get everything else. And they were still willing to take that because they know Benavidez's career and the trajectory. They believe that strongly they could beat Canelo, and they know they can get that $5 million. And if they beat Canelo, especially violently or stop him or something, because the stoppage has never been done. Yeah, he lost to Bivol. Yeah, he lost to Mayweather, but he ain't never been stopped before. So they're basically suggesting that we'll take short money up front for the opportunity, and then our career is on and popping for show. So I really don't like this entitled behavior, and it's just this DAZN made a monster out of Canelo. Again, you kept allowing him to pad his bank account and pad his resume with fights that you were losing money for, and then now he's amassed this type of fortune, and then on top of that, he probably made some right investments because he has like a cell phone company, some stores, whatever. I think he has an energy drink, different things. Now he has like split and diversified and things like that. And then now Canelo is saying some offer me 150 to 200 mil if y'all want to see the fight. I mean, who has that type of money that is investing that? I mean, maybe Saudi Arabia is willing to inject so much money to the point where they don't care if they lose the money, but any business in America definitely cares about if they recoup or if there's a ROI and a return on putting that much money into a fight like this. So yeah, people want to see Canelo Benavidez, but it doesn't sound like Canelo's interested and playing by the same. He sounds like, I'm going to do what I want to do, and I don't care what you guys have to say. And I don't think that's a great attitude personally for a boxer to have, because at the end of the day, we built you in terms of we the people. I've purchased several Canelo pay-per-views, the good ones, you know what I mean? Like the Triple G Part 2. I covered the first fight, so I didn't purchase that pay-per-view because I was there as credential media. But, you know, I've supported Canelo and bought his pay-per-views. But, you know, this entitled kind of attitude, like, give me 150, 200 mil, and then we can talk. I'll take the fight tomorrow. And then the Canelo fans and Eddie Hearn, the Cinnabons, they're saying like, oh, Canelo's not afraid of Benavidez. Then we know you're not getting 150 to 200 mil to fight Munguia. So why are you willing to accept less money? Because we know you're not getting 200 mil to fight no Munguia in Vegas. It's impossible. So you're willing to take a fraction of that, a third of that, you know, 50 mil or whatever you guys agreed, plus the back end money to make that fight. But then you want 3x that amount, 4x that amount to fight Benavidez. That stipulates one thing. If I had one wish, as a matter of fact, you were the one who said I love. That tells me one thing, one wish. You respect that Benavidez is a true threat, because you wouldn't be. It only happens like that in boxing, people. It only works when they know you're a true threat. Then they say everything like, oh man, what's in it for me? They don't sell any tickets, or why should I fight them? That fight doesn't make or break me. And all this, everybody in the crowd is yelling, Canelo, please fight him, please. I'll pay for it. I'll give you, you know, take my money now. And then let Canelo tell it, I don't care. He don't care what I'm saying, Boxing Ego. He don't care what Ryan Garcia is saying. He don't care what Mike Tyson is saying. He's like, bump that. I don't never have to fight the guy. He don't care about David Benavidez and his dad, you know, calling them names and, you know, calling them out. I wouldn't be surprised if this fight never happens, and we know why. Checkmate.